It's time for the Sin Bin. 5 minutes for fighting.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 9 of the Sin Bin. A very special episode tonight because for the first time ever, you guys are going to see Alex and I on the same team. And we're going to be going up against our very handsome young executive producer down there at the bottom, Rick, who is kindly joining us here on episode 9.
Hey, everybody.
OvieAchieving.
Whoa!
Boo! Rick,
Yes.
you've managed to do the impossible
What was
and
that?
get Alex and I to agree and turn on you. Isn't that the other way around normally?
He usually plays mediator, not this time.
Yeah, normally he's the mediator, right? He's just like, come on, guys, fight.
well,
Take
yeah.
it out in the sin bin.
Yeah, but listen, when the opportunity arises, yeah. Okay, listen, can I say something to start off here? It's
Go
probably
ahead.
going to surprise you.
Go
Okay,
ahead. You're the
first of all,
producer.
The premise of what you guys are kind of going at, I agree with you. If that number is the number and he was going at it, sure. I mean,
All right, that's it. Been over.
I'm not a doofus. I'm not a doofus. But I think the point is missed that you got to delve deeper into that and then look at it and go, was that just a dumbass comment from someone who's just trying to make an excuse for why he hasn't gotten it yet? Because I think it goes deeper than that, and I think his comment is it's a what if thing, and yeah, I mean, I don't think he's right. But I mean, that actual question, yeah, okay. I mean, I'm not an idiot.
Well, that leads us to the question. I guess it's going to be 2 minutes each for
No, it's
sin
not.
binning or fighting instead of 5 minutes each.
I got lots for you.
Oh, you got lots for us. Okay, we got lots for you, big guy.
The floor is yours, Rick.
Well, why don't we start with the question for the audience that has been so captivated by Rick's powerful words as of late? So the question, ladies and gentlemen, is that as of recent, Alex Ovechkin of the Washington Capitals has claimed that if it wasn't for the NHL lockouts, and I believe it was the 04-05 season, the partial lockout in the 2013 season, and the COVID years, he would have already had claimed the goals record set by the great one, Mr. Wayne Gretzky. As it currently sits, we're going to give you some stats, guys, just so that you can kind of catch up with it a little bit. Sorry for the Freudian slips. Mr. Alex Ovechkin currently sits at 853 career goals. That is 41 away from tying Wayne Gretzky's record at 894 and 42 away from breaking it at 895. So that leads us into here. For once, Alex and I have actually agreed that Ovechkin's claim is pretty legitimate. Now, as you just heard from Rick,
what's his claim?
His claim is that he would have already beaten it had it not been for those years.
For the lockout and the COVID years.
Yes. So Alex and I believe that is to be true. Rick more or less believes that. He believes it dives deeper. So we asked him to come on to the sin bin here, explain it. We're going to fight with him, and we're probably going to walk away with a W on our chest, boys, because we're the experts. Rick, the floor is yours, counsel.
Okay. Okay, they're going on. No, I shouldn't say they. The assumption that would he have hit the extra 42 goals if not for, I mean, you have to be brain dead to say no, he wouldn't have. But I think it goes deeper than that, right? Because he missed. You came up with 155 games that he missed.
Correct.
Right? Okay, but for me, I say that's a moot point. Why is that a moot point? It's Gretzky missed games. Gretzky's number would have been bigger. So you got to take that into account. I don't see how you not take that into account. Now, Cam is under the assumption that Gretzky only missed 71 games due to a strike in 1992, a lockout in 94-95, and I dispute that. It's actually a lot more than that.
Well, my question for you, Rick, is: are you including injury time? Because in my
nope.
calculation,
Because if you want to look at their records, if you look at the missed games and the amount of years, they're about even. They're about even. They didn't miss a lot of games to injury, either of them. I don't think you. So this is without injury.
Okay. So now here's where I did some digging, and it wasn't just the total number of games; it was when those games occurred. And most of those games that Gretzky missed were actually in the back 7 years of his.
Except you're wrong.
I don't know about that. There was quite a few that he missed it during.
Can
that
I
time
add them
period.
up? Can
Sure.
I add them up for you?
Let's hear the math.
Okay, so we
Do
have
that.
37 games in 92 in the strike he lost.
Yep.
In 92, Gretzky was still relatively young.
Sure. On the
In
back 7
94,
of his career.
95,
Yep.
in 94, 95, still putting up good numbers. He missed
Sure.
34 games
Sure.
due
Yep.
to a lockout. Here's something you guys didn't know. In the first 13 years of his career, they only played 80 games. That's 2 games less than Ovechkin got. That adds up to another 26 games. Now we're at 97. Okay, we're at 97. And then when you look at this on the right side is Gretzky. His first professional season was in the WHA where he played 72 games and got 43 goals. You have to take that into account.
No, we don't.
No, we don't. The career totals are NHL career totals. They're not any other league totals.
Ovechkin also played 4 years in the KHL too. We'd be adding that into perspective.
That's not.
As well.
No, I don't think. I don't. Well, I'm just saying that if it wasn't for the WHA, Gretzky would have had a rookie season in the NHL ahead of the one he had. So it would have been another season
when he started. 19.
Well, he would have been drafted the year like any other kid. Listen, I'll give you this. I didn't check on ages.
Oh, okay.
What do you mean? He was in the WHA. He was playing professional hockey.
But so wasn't Ovi in the KHL.
And Ovechkin was in the
KHL.
So
I'll give you only this. You might get me there.
We might get you there. Oh, just wait.
We can dispute whether those games that year counts or not.
This is going to be ugly.
Oh, it's going to be good. I love
97 games for sure.
I will give you the 26 that he missed with those extra 2 games.
Without a doubt. So I'm just saying that if you take into account those missed games, yeah, maybe we don't have this sin bin. I think my whole argument hinged on that year.
That WHL, yeah.
Is it my rebuttal counsel?
Not WHL. WHL is junior.
We need a gavel in here. This is going to be good. Okay.
Order the court.
I think you have to take into that year into account.
Excellent point. I love that you're bringing up those stats in those games. So you meant
I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble now. I think.
Yeah,
I'll give you.
Isn't gonna go well for you,
I will give you those 26 games.
That is
okay.
I give him that too.
So Ovechkin had missed a total of 155. So you're still going to say that's about and that's still about half a season more than Gretzky.
Oh, more.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to listen. I'm going to tell you now. If this is the case, I'm giving up. You win.
Wow, this is easy.
So, well, that was easy. Hey, Alex, good. Congratulations, we did it. No,
well, okay, but listen. The point being that we have to decide that if you're going to say, okay, it's 2-1, so I'm obviously losing here on whether that year counts.
No. We're going to leave this up to a vote of the people. I will post this on Twitter. I will say, go give this a listen. Tell me who won.
Let's do some math first, though.
I am. I'm about to give you the math.
No, well, I'm going to do it now. So we're kind of disputing a difference of 58 games,
more or less. But I'm going to bring some numbers into it for you in a matter of perspective.
Okay, give me some perspective.
Okay. So Ovechkin missed 155 games, but let's just say the difference is of 58 games. We'll give you that.
Yeah.
And you're claiming that Gretzky would have had more time. So all of the time, or the majority of the time that he missed, was actually in the back 7 years of his career. And Ovechkin and Gretzky would be equal in age at this point in time. Exactly. At 38 years of age. In Gretzky's back 7, his goals per game was 0.29 goals per game in the last 7 seasons. His career was 0.6 career goals per game.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, goals per game, career-wise. Ovechkin, career goals per game is 0.6. They match. They are identical.
Yeah.
However, where the difference really comes to play here is that Ovechkin in the back 7 of his career currently is 0.6 goals per game in the back 7 years of his career. It has been consistent, which makes me believe that even
0.58, I thought it was.
Sorry, 0.58 rounded
Oh,
to
that's all the
0.6.
difference.
But I
No,
see
that
that.
makes a huge difference. No.
Yeah. Well, round your 0.29 to 0.3. Regardless, it's doubled, no matter which way you look at it. So the likely odds of Ovechkin scoring double the goals of Gretzky is mathematically relevant. That's why it is reasonable to assume, even in those 58 games that we allow, double the amount of goals would have been scored between them.
Yeah.
I also want to add in one point as well, where Rick was bringing up Wayne Gretzky's WHA year. So Wayne Gretzky came into the league at age 19. Alexander Ovechkin didn't come into the league until he was 20. That means he played 4 years in the KHL, dating back to 17. Imagine if Ovi came into the league at age 18, like a lot of these stars nowadays are doing, like Connor Bedard hypothetically did this, not hypothetically, but did this year. Even if you paired them both at age 18.
No. You can't make that argument.
But I know, but that's why
neither of those two guys. Wait a second. Neither of those two guys were around now. You have to go by when. And in those days, Russians didn't come over that early.
I'm aware of that. But my point being is that kind of
no. Then if you're going to
WHA,
I'll only give you that. I'll only give you that. Although I don't know if it works in my favor anyway, but I'll only give you that if you give me a WHA year.
That's my point. If you're
all right, fine.
I don't think it works. I don't think that works in my favor anyway.
We'll give you some benefit of the doubt. We'll add it.
It doesn't. It still doesn't. It doesn't.
It doesn't matter. It adds some fun to the argument for me. But he does have a point. Alex does have a point where he says, like, Alex is coming in 2 years later than the supposed great one. And he is the great one. Don't get me wrong. Wayne Gretzky will still always be, I think, the best hockey, the best one ever. He set records that are
dominant athlete ever in the 4 major sports. I don't even think that's really an argument.
And maybe his only other 2 contenders probably Bobby Orr and Mario Lemieux. No question.
Like those scoring?
No, in terms of overall, but that's not the argument.
Mike Bossy, if he didn't,
yeah. Well, Mike Bossy, yeah.
If he could have played longer, Mike Bossy would have been
correct. But then again, in terms of overall length, but then same thing with Bobby Orr. Bobby Orr had played longer.
Yeah, no, of course, yeah.
But Ovechkin came in a couple of years later, so that also sets him back as well. At age 20. So I firmly believe that his claim was legitimate. Do I think it's arrogant? Yes. I think you are right to say that there is definitely what if scenarios, and it's but I find it fun to play with the numbers because then you can kind of forecast that.
Yeah. No, listen, there's what if scenarios. There's no doubt. But no, listen, if I can't get that WHA year in, it throws off my whole my whole argument. Did gone.
You not know that on NHL.com they only calculate career goals scored in the NHL? They don't
I know that. I'm just saying if he was in the NHL, he'd have scored those goals probably in the NHL. And you say, well, would he have gotten as many? He did pretty good in his first year.
I will say this, and I will not contest you. I think that Wayne Gretzky would have scored those goals in that if it was in the NHL. But in that era, it was easier to score goals.
In the WHA? Yes.
No, in the NHL.
Okay, this is a different argument, though. It's a different argument, but it's a valid one. And you make a good point, and I don't want to go there because if you're going where I think you're going, yeah, Gretzky's goals are a little inflated because of his era. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
and Ovi played in a harder era to score goals. No, there's no doubt. I'm not going to argue that.
But the main aspect of this argument is if we were to give you the WHA year in 78, 79, you got to give the opportunity of Ovi's 2 KHL years of what he could have possibly did in his age 18 and 19 years. And Ovi in his rookie year put up 52 goals. His second year, he put up 46. His third year, he put up 65. His fourth year, he
okay, but again, wait, as a
40.
20-year-old, how old was he?
He was 20 in his first year.
It's not to say at 18. It doesn't mean at 18 he was coming in here to put 50 goals up.
I'm not saying that, but he could have probably still put up a 40-goal season the way he was playing.
I doubt that, but I mean, yeah, he would have put up numbers. There's no doubt. I mean, yeah.
But
I don't know. Look at Connor McDavid when he came in. I mean, I'm not saying Ovechkin's Connor McDavid, but I mean, like, look at what some of other 18-year-old players are coming in and doing. I mean, Bedard came in and had a solid, first season on a crappy Chicago Blackhawks team. McDavid was a shining star on, a struggling Edmonton team, scored, I think, 100 points his first season or something close to that, maybe more. I can't remember exactly the number, but there are comparable players that have come out in their first seasons that have just absolutely crushed it. But that could also be a byproduct of the team that they were on. Right. You know what I mean? So
was their first season 18?
For McDavid, yes. I mean, I would say more often than not, when you're the first overall,
those guys, pick, I know what you're gonna say. You're right.
Yeah, normally when you're in the top 5,
find things that go for me. You know what else I'm gonna say against my argument, and this is why I didn't want you to check his age.
He's digging himself a hole.
I think in the WHA,
right,
I think he was 17 in the WHA when he played.
Can someone? Is this?
I'll look at that right now. No, he was 18. He was 18.
Okay, so the season before then he was 17.
Yes, he had. No,
right, okay, so he would have been in the NHL. So it was valid to say that he should have been in the NHL.
Yes,
that year.
I just want to know.
Somewhat valid. My point. It just okay.
I just want to know if you're gonna. I just want to know if you're gonna call the cops on us because if this is elderly abuse or nothing. Like, you know what I mean? You're giving us credit.
Because the veracity of your beatdown wasn't very much.
You signed up for it. We need to have a waiver.
Listen,
I can take beatdowns like that.
I put Rick at a full Nelson, and Cam just started wailing on him.
Yeah, no. I can take beatdowns like this every day of the week. No worries.
No, but I'm
curious. A bad beatdown.
I'm curious because you said you prepared something with the WHA. I'm curious as to where your argument was going to go there. I'm very curious. Fill me in.
Okay, so here's how I added it up, right? So you take those 97 games, and I figured another season in the NHL missed would have been another 80 games. It's 177 games to 155. If Gretzky missed more games than Ovi missed, if you add those in, Gretzky was going to score, say, another 100 goals. So Ovi today would have been looking at 142 goals.
So I'll give you what I'll get.
But then how many would he have made up in those? He would have made a good portion of that up. So in the end, I have to be honest, in the end, he would have been left with a number that he still could get.
I think here's the strength of the argument because you've done us a solid. I'll give you one here too. You mentioned that in the 80s or the first 13 years of his career, it was only an 80-game season. So that's 26 games. That's a lot. Like, I'm not going to lie. In that era, that's a lot of games.
And that's an era where Gretzky could score 5 goals a night some nights.
Oh, easy. I'm not going to dispute that.
He had a number of nights.
Have you seen him play?
5.
No, 4, I know, 5. But I'm just saying the way you say that, you make it sound like he's going to score 5.
Well, he could have had a few. He had a few 5-goal nights in those.
No, I'm not saying he couldn't, but just the way it was worded, it made it sound like he's going to score 5 every night.
Well, he lived behind the opposing goaltender's net rent-free.
Listen, the year he scored 50 and 39 games.
He has a 92-goal season. I know how good he was.
Listen, he needed 5 goals on that 39th game. He was 5 goals away from 50. He got them. And that's a pressure-filled situation. So Gretzky in those days, like you said, actually, goaltending was shitty. It was easier to score. Gretzky, some nights, could put him in with ease.
And it would be I'll give you this. It would also depend on who his opponents were that night. So again, I'm going to have a little fun with this 26 game thing because I think I'm willing to give you the 26 game element because that's a very fair assessment. I'm willing to give you that.
Yeah. I think
on top of that. And because that's the first 13 years, he joined so he'd be 31, right? So just before the back seven of his career, because he retired when he was 38 years old, and I believe it was 96.
Yes.
Right?
No, he retired 98, 99.
Sorry, 98, 99. So I'm going to give you this. I'll say this. So before the back seven of his career, I would probably argue that in those 26 games, you would be looking at probably an additional between 52 to 60 an additional 60 goals in there. I'll give
26 games.
No, maybe not that many.
I would have gone more like 35.
Yeah, I was gonna say 30 to 35.
I'll highball you a little bit, assuming we'll make the I don't know. I want to make the assumption because I still think with Ovechkin's point average based on the numbers in his back seven compared to Gretzky's back seven, he would have doubled it.
We'll call it 35.
Well, we'll just say this though: in those 13 seasons, 4 of those seasons were plus 200 points, and he had a 92 goal year in there.
Yeah, so it's not unreasonable to suggest that there would have been a higher volume scored. And again, or if we would want to base it off of his career, if we actually want to say this, right? So in 26 games, I'm sorry, you're right. 52 is way too much.
It's too much. But 30, somewhere between 30 and 40 is not out of the question with Gretzky.
If he had kept pace with his goals per game career average, he would have had 16 additional goals.
With his career average. Because that's what we have to base that on, right? But if you're breaking down the back 7 years at that rate, what they were then, you got to break down those years at what it was and was higher in the first 13 years than the last 7 years of his career.
You're, I mean, yes and no.
Because you know what the point being, and I'm going to admit this, you can do all the math you want. My side doesn't. There's not enough goals there to really be. Yeah, he wouldn't have gotten it unless you count that 80 games that I'm trying to push in here. If you don't count those, then I don't win here.
I'm only willing to give you the 9. I'm giving you the 26.
Well, those you have to give. No,
and
those
the 71. Like I'm giving you those.
You have to give them to me because he had 82 game seasons his whole career. Gretzky did it, so you have to give those.
Yeah, I'm so ashamed. I thought you were gonna come in here with a cane swinging.
I thought I had a cane swing.
you struck out. You didn't even get a foul tip, buddy.
I whiffed.
I don't even think Cam needed my help for this.
We said you can't count the WHA, and Rick just goes, F. Why can't I?
Why can't I?
That's 80 points.
You guys are being ageist. Said that, you could hear the Price is Right fail horn play in the background.
I saw Rick's head just dip, and he goes, shit.
And
I almost had that.
Argument.
At least this. I'm not obstinate, and I didn't try to keep it going.
What was that word?
Obstinate.
I thought he said abstinent, and I was like, I don't know what that has to do with anything. But
you don't know what the word obstinate is?
No, it sounded like you
not in my dictionary.
The first time you said it.
Obstinate. I said it very.
Well, now you did, but it sounded.
I thought I heard abstinent, but that's just my horrible hearing.
It's where you're.
Either way, Rick, good for you. You're not a dick, and you don't dick. So there you go.
There you go.
There you go.
No, listen. I was ready to give it up in case you wouldn't buy that. I thought I had a
who you're dealing with. Ladies and gentlemen, we're sorry. He's dealing with professionals here. We argue on the daily.
I really wanted to go with the injuries but then I checked Ovies, and Ovies, they played about the same number of games this season. Average.
They're extremely comparable. I will say this.
Terrible.
Yeah,
Rick, I went to New Jersey this past weekend, and I can't tell you, I spent an entire 5-hour car ride researching all this stuff, and I sent so many pictures to Alex. I'm just like,
I was hoping you wouldn't do so much.
And
I looked at that, I was like, oh, this is going to be painful.
I had the time, buddy. I had the time. Like I said, it's a 5-hour car ride, buddy. 5-hour car ride.
He just simply said, "I'm ready to beat Rick," and he's got all these statistics. I'm like,
"Oh, okay."
This is gonna be
listen, you can't say we didn't have fun doing this. At least,
Hey, Rick, it's always a pleasure, buddy. And like I said, thank you very much for everything that you do, ladies and gentlemen. This gentleman down here, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening elsewhere, I know you can't see him, but he does a ton of work for us. He works with Alex and I day in and day out to get these podcasts and these little shows out to you guys. We hope you enjoy them, and we hope you give this a watch and show some love for our boy Rick. He needs it. He just got bruised, battered, and beaten. That was episode 9, and I think it was pretty convincing. We're gonna have to get you a loser shirt, buddy.
We gotta give it
something good for their 10th installment.
Yeah,
we got to give a prize for the. We got to come up with a prize for the winner each week.
I mean, this is the greatest thing. I'm going to hang this over your head for at least a week.
Most of me and Cam's debates have been pretty even. There's only probably been like 2 or 3 definitive ones, and most of them we kind of agree. Yeah, it's kind of a push.
Yeah, because you guys argue it all out on in their chat on Facebook first.
That is kind
why
of
I tell
time
you,
to time.
Don't waste it.
The biggest heat one we probably had was the Carolina Cap conundrum with Marty Natchez, and that ended up being the biggest fucking cesspool of everything. Where he eventually signed, but it took every fucking twist and turn for him to do it.
True.
By the way, W on that one.
It took a while to get it, but you got it.
Hey, listen, I got the Rempe fight, so I'll take that one.
It's fine. You could take that one. I don't care. I got this Natchez one. But as much as I was swearing at you on that one, doesn't matter.
Score?
But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this was OvieAchieving. Let us know what you think. It was Ovie's comments over the top. Were they not? Do you agree with Rick? We don't, but that's okay. You might. Let us know. Please don't call the cops on us. We love Rick. Rick loves you guys. And hopefully you guys tune in for some more of the Sin Bin. That was 27 minutes each for fighting.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Pleasure, Rick.